Hello everyone, my name is Michelle Crusoe. Welcome to my channel where you learn how to get connected and thrive in the film industry. If you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. As some of you may know, I am also a writer and director. I recently wrapped post-production on one of my short films, Behind the Screen. Behind the Screen is a modern silent short film where the only dialogue is via text messages. Feeling undervalued in a digital age where there seem to be endless options, a millennial girl aches for more than being a powerless worker bee and just another fling. In this episode, I'll be breaking down how we made Behind the Screen. Be sure to stay tuned to the end so you can see the trailer. For this film, we also have a Facebook, Instagram, and seed&spark campaign to follow, so make sure you check those out. I'll leave a link below. I have to be honest, this film nearly broke me and almost didn't happen numerous times. For anyone that has taken on doing a film themselves, I'm sure they can appreciate all the struggles and challenges and unforeseen circumstances that go with production and set life. The most challenging aspects of this was raising funds, which we did do so successfully, which felt great, but man was it a grind. There were a lot of challenges during pre-production. One of them being I had to replace my DP or director of photography a couple of times simply because they got booked on larger budget projects. I had to recast my lead in an important supporting role 1 week prior to filming. You bet I was freaking out. As someone that does have a lot of connections to crew, the crew that I know tend to work on the larger, bigger budget projects, not so much independent films. So I realized really quickly on this one, I had to change up my avenues for crewing up because I was up against projects like Marvel and Disney and Netflix. So welcome to independent filmmaking in Atlanta. But at the end of the day, I'm really, really grateful for the cast and crew I ended up with. I felt like as much as I had all my struggles, I ended up who was right for those roles and positions at the end of the day. In prep, you should be raising everyone's awareness of what project you're about to embark on. And as the writer of the script, I also submitted it to some competitions. And I'm happy to say that Behind the Screen was a finalist in the Get Connected in Film Touch Production Grant in Atlanta, Georgia. So that was a nice early win and gave the story credibility. So with Behind the Screen being a modern silent film, that required a lot more technical aspects than your average short film. So I really needed the funding behind this one. We used crowdfunding through seed&spark. And you guys, this is the first time that I had a successful crowdfunding campaign. I'll touch a little bit on what we did, but if you're interested in having a separate video about how we successfully crowdfunded our short film, let me know in the comments. One of my previous short films was called Dig Your Grave, and it was a Western, and we did crowdfund on Indiegogo. Just by comparing the two campaigns, we raised more in 3 days on seed&spark than I did on Indiegogo. And the reason for that is seed&spark gives you a free class on how to raise funds for your film. So please check out seed&spark. They really get you thinking of how to have filmmaking as more of a career and not just a one-off project that you tell everybody about once it's done. It's a longer story and longer journey than that. So during the campaign, make a social media strategy. You want to be posting engaging content as often as you can. I heard a statistic once that people need to see something 7 times before they take action. So imagine how much content you need to be putting out consistently. And we got way more no's or really no responses than yeses. And it took multiple prompts to get people to take action. I was hitting up all my film colleagues via email. If they responded right away, great. If not, I spaced out my follow-ups about every 1 to 2 weeks. So just because you reach out to someone and there was no response does not mean your efforts stop there. I'm not saying bombard them constantly, but I'm saying follow up because as we all know, life gets busy, and even after the campaign, some people were like, oh no, the campaign ended, how can I still contribute? So something I learned is to not undervalue who's gonna support you. Sometimes people just need some reminders. We try to cater our perks based on the area and who we felt our audience was, especially for the crowdfunding phase, which was honestly other filmmakers and actors actually. So I reached out to a local photographer who I got some of his works from, and he signed them, and so that was one of the perks. Another one for the actors out there was a consultation with Drama Inc. Think about these perks ahead of time, what is going to interest your audience beyond just this short film. So to wrap it up, have perks that are consistent with your area and who your target audience is at this point in the filmmaking process. Be prepared for more no's than yeses. Have a game plan in place to have engaging, interesting, consistent content on social media. And also during our campaign, I also went to as many in-person networking events as possible. Now, pre-production was pre-COVID, so we didn't have the pandemic as an obstacle. I chatted with Chuck on the Atlanta Film Chat podcast. I also went to Rolecall's Film Pitch ATL to pitch my film at Ponce City Market, which was a super scary experience, but well worth getting the experience of pitching in front of a lot of people. Also, leading up to that film pitch, since I was pitching in person so often, I was perfecting my pitch before that event. As you talk about your film, see what resonates and connects and gets people excited about it. That's gonna be the thing that you really wanna emphasize. And for behind the screen, the thing that got people most interested was it was a modern silent short film. Do not underestimate the importance of having production insurance. And production insurance is a decent line item, so be sure to get quotes. On Behind the Screen, we worked with Sapelo Insurance. The reason why production insurance is so important is, for one thing, if you're doing something with stunts, you really need to have protection. Another reason is locations. The majority of locations aren't going to allow you to shoot there unless you have production insurance. And if you have rentals, especially renting equipment like camera and lighting, you're going to need to have production insurance. So bottom line, get production insurance. As a quick note, before sending out your script to anyone, be sure it's registered at WGA, which is the Writers Guild of America. I'll leave a link below. I mainly found my crew by digitally networking. I found my hair and makeup gal through Rolecall. They have a digital database of cast and crew. And then she recommended who I ended up with as my DP. And then my DP brought on an AC, or assistant camera, who also ended up being our editor. And then through WIFTA, which is Women in Film and TV in Atlanta, is how I met my colorist. And through a colleague is how I met my music composer. And my AD helped me to find help for art, props, set deck, and wardrobe by posting in some Facebook groups. And my producer found me at Film Pitch ATL. For sound, I found her through a recommendation. So when you're crewing up, be sure to tap into your existing network and see who they can recommend. So you can see how many avenues I went through to gather my crew. As I say, you have to constantly be networking. To find my cast, it was a combination of recommendations and auditions. For my lead that I had to replace shortly before filming, I got on all the actors' websites, scoured through until I found some actresses that I thought would be a great fit, reached out to them, and scheduled an audition ASAP. And for the other supporting role that I had someone drop out last minute, I hit up a actor that I knew of but hadn't worked with before, but fortunately it really worked out. Like I said, I really enjoyed who I ended up working with at the end of the day. That's the filmmaking process. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. You have to be adaptable and resourceful, and don't let it stop you. Recommendations from a trusted colleague go a long way in my book. I automatically trust that person's talent and track record a bit more. And how well you get along with people goes a long way. Shooting a film takes a lot of time, so you're gonna be spending a lot of time and everyone's gonna be working really hard. So you wanna make sure you have the right cast and crew behind your back. cast and crew in any entity working on the film, I always have a deal memo or agreement in place. I get mine off of Film Impact Georgia's Filmmakers Toolkit. I'll leave a link below. Locations. I have some friends that work in the locations department and enlisted the help of one of them. He was very gracious in taking time to scout with me, and he also offered up him and his now wife's apartment. And him and his wife's apartment is the place we shot in for Girl's apartment. For our lead's workplace, we shot at Georgia Power. Thank you, Mike and Ricardo, for allowing us to stay there till 3 a.m. on day one of filming. Georgia Power was a great find, and they were so supportive from the very beginning. Here I am, an independent filmmaker, already feeling the sting of, being up against studio-produced projects, and Georgia Power was really excited that I was a local independent filmmaker that's trying to make her way with directing. It goes a long way when they show support like that early on. If they hadn't been so supportive of independent film in the Atlanta area, who knows if they would have allowed us to stay till 3 a.m. to get all the shots we needed. And we shot on a weekend, and we really had the run of the space. We had our craft service in one room, so anyone who wasn't filming could snack and chat and not disrupt filming. Or if it was cast coming in, they could get hair, makeup, and wardrobe prepped in that other area, and we could continue work filming. So thank you for all our gracious location hosts. Shooting a silent short film certainly had its own unique challenges. So directing a scene where actors don't say anything is not only challenging for the actors, but also the director as well. So our process to achieve the proper performance that has the right peaks and valleys is we would rehearse and get the blocking done first, and then if there's a text message in the scene as needed, I would vocalize what that is. Or sometimes I may do a ding so they knew when to look at the phone and remember what line they were reacting to. But sometimes the phone didn't even play a role. So what we would do is have the actors improv their objective or intention so they could have an idea of how to play off one another. And then once we got a good workflow with that, then we would film. And that's the beauty of editing. I didn't totally limit their ability to talk. Someone could say something and hello, editing, we can just edit it out and get that performance that we need. With this project having intimate scenes, building that trust ahead of time made a huge difference. I also took time to rehearse with my actors. Actors really want to trust their directors to lead them. And for an intimate scene, that trust goes tenfold. And something I learned with intimate scenes too, you only need little glimpses here and there. So be strategic about your shots and appreciative of what the cast is going through. This may be their first on-screen kiss, or they are married and their partners have reservations about it. And I definitely had my own set of nerves with filming intimate scenes. Our lead Bill had a great sense of humor about it. So whenever there's nerves, create a fun atmosphere that helps shake out everybody's nerves. So please take the time to talk about intimacy scenes beforehand so there's more comfort on the day of filming. So I'm sorry guys, there's gonna be some audio interferences. Hashtag apartment living. Thank you guys for bearing with me. So to keep the good times rolling, not only did I have challenges in pre-production and production, of course it kept going into post-production. As an independent filmmaker with a conservative budget, I was competing against everyone's day job in post-production as well. And post-production, as we know, is a longer, more intensive process. But we got through it, thankfully. So from the very beginning, color was playing an important aspect in the telling of this film. This being a silent film, music was going to play another very important role. Music was essentially the unspoken dialogue and also the emphasis on the subtext. Carl, our composer, did a fantastic job. I'll leave his link below, as did our colorist, Jen, and I'll leave a link below. During any phase of production, I always send references to my department head so they can get a gauge of what I want this film to look like or sound like. Describing music is especially hard, but I'm very thankful that Carl was patient as we got through it together. I'm super proud of everyone's hard work. Thank you so much. I'm so happy with the way Behind the Screen turned out. Thank you for watching, and please comment below if you learned a new process that you want to try on your next film. And now here's the trailer to Behind the Screen.